everybody, I'm Suzanne, and in today's video we're going to paint a coyote. Now this dynamic running coyote is going to be the second piece in the series that I'm doing for my 3-day wildlife painting workshop coming up May 19th, 20th, and 21st of this year. So that's 2023. So be on the lookout for more details coming to you very soon. But anyway, I also had a challenge by one of my viewers on YouTube, and she had watched the video of painting your cat's portrait. And she said, hey, you know, I like the painting, it's great. Too bad you can't reuse the leftover paint. Challenge accepted, DL. And so in today's video, you're gonna see I'm gonna start off with the colors that I used for the rabbit. The leftover paint is what I used to do the coyotes. So it happened, right? So here's the painting of the coyote. And I'm gonna go ahead and show you the rabbit as well, because the rabbit piece, you can see the palette colors are very much the same. And I should put them this way because I wanted to look like the coyote is chasing after the rabbit. And if you look, this, you know, the dust is kicking up towards the coyote's face, kind of telling the story, right? So, but I will show you, it's a very quick time lapse mainly of how I did this piece. And, but it's the same exact palette. I mean, I didn't change it. So what you're gonna see in the beginning of this, when I go over the actual palette used, I just reused my video from the rabbit. So there you have it. I think if I didn't convolute it, make it like totally not make sense, I think you get the idea. So we're gonna go ahead and paint this coyote and have fun with that. So I want to thank you for joining me, and if you're my subscribers, as always, thank you so much for being here, and if you're not, consider subscribing, and let's go ahead and jump into this coyote running. Here's the palette for our little running bunny. I've got raw umber, which is Michael Harding. I have you'll see two yellow ochres down. That happens to be Blue Ridge. I have Blue Ridge's ultramarine blue. This is ivory black, that's Michael Harding. This is Michael Harding's Indian yellow, Michael Harding's Italian brown ochre, burnt sienna, also Michael Harding. I told you I have got yellow ochre down twice. This happens to be Brilliant Pink by Michael Harding. It seems like a weird color to put down, but I think I'll be mixing a little bit of that in with some of my other colors. And of course, titanium white. And I'll probably need a lot more titanium white, but that's what we're gonna start with for our bunny, our running jackrabbit.
So I'm starting off with just a really loose sketch. And again, it's the same type of Masonite super slick board that I'm using here to do these paintings. And since this coyote and that little jackrabbit are going to be the pieces that we'll be painting in my next upcoming 3-day painting workshop, I wanted to be able to use everything the same, and I want to try to make it as easy for my attendees on the workshop as possible. So I'm just kind of coming in and blocking it in. I'm using a lot of yellow ochre, and I'm using a violet to tone it down just a tiny bit to bring that yellow down. And so if you watch the rabbit video, I'm doing the same process with this coyote as I did with the rabbit. And I am using a number 3 Eclipse long filbert brush by Rosemary. Now, I wanted to make sure that my backgrounds were pretty much identical. So I am putting my little bunny painting up just next to it, and so I'm making sure my colors are mixed. And the colors were already mixed because those were it's the same exact palette, and the paints were still wet. So I didn't really even have to remix the paint so much to get that background in. I am putting a little bit more pink in just because I think it's fun. But obviously you can tell that these pieces are done with the same palette. Now I'm using the little 279 series brush to soften out the paint strokes, and it's okay that I blurred through the tail just a tad because, you know, I'll be putting all the detail in eventually. But kind of popping in the background a little bit, and then I can concentrate soon on the coyote. Now, talking about kicking up dust, as I said in the beginning or the intro into this video, I wanted the paintings to go together. And so again, I am putting the dust in front of the coyote because I want to imply that it's being kicked up by the rabbit. But doing the small detail, and again, still using that same little brush. I gotta say the number 3 Eclipse Long Filbert is one of my favorite brushes to use. And just kind of popping everything in. And I guess I wanted to get a lot of this in before I actually dove into the Coyote. Now that my background's pretty much blocked in, I'm using a smaller brush. This is a little tiny pointed red dot. It's a number 2 pointed round, and I'm just kind of putting that soft edge in that fur. I've switched over to an ivory filbert. This is I believe a number 2 or number 3, and I'm putting a lot of the darker values in, and I'm still squinting in this piece, so there's not really a lot of detail going in. Just trying to get the actual structure. And I think I hem and haw with this back leg a little bit. You'll see. I kind of struggle a little bit, but I finally get it. And I'm just kind of, looking at my negative space and making sure everything's kind of where it needs to be. Now, I will be switching on and off between using the red dot pointed round, which is a little tiny miniature brush from the Workbench Miniature series. And then I'll swap over and start using a, this brush right here happens to be the ivory filbert. Now the ivory is a coarser brush, excuse me. So with the coarser brush, it allows for a little bit more texture, but we all know that my hand works in a better, in a direction going up or down. It's hard for me to push sideways. So I'll flip the brush like this, and I've switched over to the pointed round again. And I'll be able to do the little hairs. So this is the way my hand works better, so I flip the painting to accommodate. So I'm just trying to get a lot of the detail, and as you can see, it's now switching to an ivory dagger. Now that 1/4 inch ivory dagger is gonna make that nice little hairy stroke. And since the pattern of the jackrabbit and the pattern of hair with the coyote is kind of that agouti looking fur, where you have a lot of the darks and lights mixed in, the the dagger brush is very, very helpful in making that texture that you need with all the colors, the salt and pepper look that you have in that fur. So I'm just kind of doing it very gingerly, wanting to keep that stroke a little shorter because this is not a very big painting. So I don't want him to look like he has long fur. I just got to keep that. See, I'm really being short with that stroke. So if you're going to use a dagger, you got to know how to use it. And being that it's going to make that hair, yeah, we got to just be nice and short here. That's what's going on. Again, just using that very, very, very short stroke. And you see I even flipped the brush over, so I'm just using the little points of that brush. I'm almost just tapping it in and poking it. So you can see that I've got some of these long-looking dark strokes in. Now I'm going to actually switch over and start using a cream, kind of a yellow ochre and white, kind of flattened out with a little bit of violet to make these lighter strokes. So I am peppering in the hair over each other. A little bit of dark, a little bit of light. So I basically went down with my medium valued paint on the body, just like you see there on the neck and shoulders. It's just kind of that color. That's what my base color is. I went in with the dark stroke using the dagger, and now I'm going back over that with the lighter hairs or the guard hairs. So it's all mixed in, but this is the order that I actually painted this in. So now that I've kind of gone in and put a basic hair pattern in here, I'm going in with this small pointed round and doing some of the lighter strokes again. And I know that the area over the knee of this coyote, and his hip area, just right here in front, it's a little bit of a longer fur, and I'm able to just kind of stroke that in, and you can see the stroke. I'm still keeping my strokes pretty short, but it's longer and a little bit more predominant in this area. And I've actually switched over to the ivory brush, the ivory filbert, to kind of, because I needed a little bit more oomph in that stroke. I didn't want to use a very soft brush, but I keep mixing it up between them. And so I put the light color down first, but I'm bringing the darker hair over top. So you got to understand the order of the fur colors. So this is what I'm doing here. And I will be doing this all over this coyote, and I will be flipping and flopping with my brushes. Remember, folks, this will be one of the pieces we'll be doing in my next workshop. So a lot of this will be explained in even greater depth if you're planning on attending the workshop, which will be May 19th, 20th, and 21st of 2023 here in Kingsport, Tennessee. And we always have a great time, and we're going to have a lot of fun and, paint this one and the rabbit. And so you'll get to learn all about making a goody fur, which can be a challenge. It really can be, but it's a lot of fun. So as I move through the piece, I'm adding more and more fur, and I'm basically moving from the back end to the forefront on this coyote, and working down through his shoulder and his front leg, and putting in all my dark values. So even with white fur, because it's going to overlay, I've got to put the dark shadowed fur in front, and that's what you see kind of running the front of his chest here. It'll all make sense, I promise. But again, here I'm just using that, I was using the small red dot, and I am able to adjust my structure if I have it incorrect by painting in the negative space or the background. So a lot of times I really count on my negative space to redirect me. So you see I just elongated that front leg a little bit, and putting in the toe pads and his actual structure of his front leg. And it's really helpful, folks, if you do recognize and use your negative space. It will help direct you. So again, the same process that I did on the back end of this coyote, I got to do on the whole neck, shoulder area as well. Now the face. I am looking at my photo reference, and I'm trying to stick as close to it as I can. And I got to get the structure in. I've got his muzzle a little short, and you're going to see that I will eventually elongate his muzzle. So I'm just trying to look at the space, and I'm constantly going back and forth, again, using the negative space to direct where this should go. So you can see how it is just a little bit short. So we're bringing that muzzle out a little bit more, and you'll see it'll keep coming out a little bit and a little bit and a little bit. I'm always inching it out. But it wouldn't be a Suzanne Barrett Justis video if I didn't morph all over my paintings. And yeah, and this is one of the things, and it's interesting, I had one of my viewers had said one of the things they liked about my videos was the fact that I make mistakes. Folks, every artist makes mistakes, I promise you that. And I think that it's important that as instructors and as folks that we're actually putting this out there for you to see that we're not perfect. We make mistakes, but we can correct them, and you can too. And that's why I think it's important that you realize, I made his muzzle too short, and I'm lengthening out a little bit, and you'll see I'll probably even do it again. I'll probably even make it a little bit longer, but yes, we all make mistakes. And yes, I did elongate it again. And I barely made the suggested where his teeth are going, and I wanted to put the focus in front of him. So that's why I really haven't done that a lot of detail in his eye. I just kind of wanted to just kind of leave it at that. This is actually a very small piece. This is just a 9 by 12. So you put the detail where you need to put the detail, but not, you don't have to get nuts here. So again, I am putting in the rough of his neck, and you can see I put the dark colors up first on the fur, and then I put the light up next to it, and so on. I just keep adding, and again, I'm using that sword brush again. Makes fur easy and very effective in doing good fur. If you want to do good fur, get you a sword brush. That's bottom line. And, I'm getting close to the end because I'm just moving all around the piece now. And you can see I actually had to elongate his ear too. So I'm constantly adjusting as I go. And, but I'm feeling good about it. And we're about to wrap this one up. So I go all around the piece now. See, where do I need to add a little bit of detail here, there, and it's all coming together. I've enjoyed this piece, and I hope you have too. So definitely give me a thumbs up if you have. And remember, if you want to jump in on this workshop coming up, it's right around the corner. It's May 19th, 20th, and 21st. It's the weekend after Mother's Day here in Kingsport, Tennessee. And I will leave the information soon as it becomes available in the actual description of this video. So you'll hear me shouting it on the rooftops about any final details, just like we're getting down to the final details on this piece. All done. Now, this is the second piece that will be in the workshop that I'm doing. So I actually used the same palette that I used when I did the rabbit piece, if you'll remember. And I'll show you that here in a second. I'll put it up right next to it so you can see the rabbit painting and the coyote painting. So I had a interesting challenge by one of my subscribers, or somebody was on it was the video about painting your cat's portrait. And one of the things, this is DL, I'm giving you a shout out. DL said, too bad there's not a way to use the leftover paint from your painting in your next painting, or do a small painting. So she kind of gave me a challenge. I dare you. Let's see if you can make this happen. So DL, that's exactly what I did. This is the same palette I used for the last painting, and since I'm actually doing this and the rabbit to go together, possibly for my next workshop, I know this piece of the coyote will definitely be in the workshop piece. I'm thinking the rabbit will, or I may go ahead and do a Roadrunner, because Coyote and the Roadrunner. So, but anyhow, this is the completed coyote piece. I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. If you have any questions about anything, including this heinous looking palette over here, I can explain myself. But if you have any questions whatsoever, please just go ahead and leave it in the comment section. I'll get right to you. And that's it. This was fun. Now, it was really, there really wasn't any other colors that I put down to do this piece that wasn't used for the rabbit. And it's evident when you look at the rabbit and the coyote, they're basically the same colors. The backgrounds are the same colors. Everything's, it's the same, just a different species of animal. But this was fun, and I enjoyed being able to kick up the dust and having him in hot pursuit. That's actually the title of this painting, In Hot Pursuit. So I hope you enjoyed today's video, and if you did, give me a thumbs up. And if you have any questions about anything I covered in today's video, please don't hesitate. Just leave it down there in the comments section and I'll get to you. Yeah, that's it. So be looking out for details coming up real soon on the 3-day wildlife painting workshop, and it's titled Prey and Predator. So I'll catch you next time from Kingsport, Tennessee. See ya.